Thank you. Welcome to the Lukens National Historic District. I'm the president, Scott Houston, and we would just like to start tonight with a brief prayer from our Pastor Harris of the Tabernacle Baptist Church. So Reverend Harris, please.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Let us pray. We are gracious, dear Father, for your blessings that you have bestowed upon us one more time. Thank you for a lovely day that you have enabled us to embark upon. Dear God, we thank you for this gathering on tonight, and we're just asking of your divine presence to be with us. We thank you for the celebration of life. We thank you for all that you continue to do with us and for us. We ask, dear God, that you'll bless this gathering. Bless all who are here and those who yet might be on their way. Give us your grace and your peace and your love. And we ask this in thy Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Great. Again, appreciate everybody for coming out tonight. We are happy to have the 8th annual Rebecca Lukens Award. It's very, very nice to have it back here again at Greystone Mansion. I want to welcome everybody here tonight. I think we had our first two Rebecca Lukens recipients receive their awards here. Founding member Mary Sullivan, and then I believe Jane Davidson as well had hers here. So they cannot be with us tonight, but I wanted to it's nice to be back in Greystone. It's such a nice, great house, and it's warm and nice to have everybody here, on a nice night for that weather-wise. So. Anyway, I also want to thank Coatesville Savings Bank and PICO for helping out tonight, and the Williams Group for getting the word out. I know Melinda does a great job and is very active in trying to get the story out, and we thank her for that. I want to thank the Greystone board members again for putting me up here and making them speak on their behalf. Charles Lukens Houston III, also known as Dad, who's back there somewhere. And Al Giantonio, Jeff Roars, Bill Keene, Martha Sciatis is our new board member. Barbara Travellini could not be with us here tonight, and I believe Harry Lewis was here earlier. And this is a concept that we started a number of years ago to try and recognize Rebecca Lukens and her accomplishments. And we geared it around her birthday, but Women's History Month we settled in on as an appropriate time to do the Rebecca Lukens Award. And the committee is based around the past recipients: Mary Sullivan, Barbara Travellini, Carol Hannum Davis, Tammy Kanzler, and Regina Horton. And I believe Regina was here and she had to leave, and Tammy is here tonight. We're also joined on the committee by Francis Sheehan, Steve Cunningham, Susanna Brody, who is portraying Rebecca Lukens tonight, Eugene DiOrio, and board members Al Giantonio and Charles Lukens Houston III. The committee meets in December, and we get together and we get bios, and we talk about women of accomplishment. We talk about Rebecca, and we give it some thought about developing a ballot and trying to get word out about who would be a great candidate to represent the Rebecca Lukens and the story of Rebecca Lukens. And we do that here, and then we welcome the recipient. This year's Molly, and we're great to do that. I mean, we looked at the candidates, but I think Molly and the recognition is great. Looking at an organization, I wrote down these stats somewhere, but it's impressive for sure. The Natural Lands Trust and organizing the Natural Lands Trust, I think over 50 staff members. And they helped then cover 42 different nature preserves, 22,000 acres, 26 counties, I wasn't sure, over 150 municipalities, and covering from the Poconos to the New Jersey Bay Shore. Your website is quite excellent. So all this is there, and I think specifically you look at the property maps, and they definitely range all over. But most notably around here, Sadsbury Woods just to the west of us, Chess Len just to the east of us, and then Crow's Nest up by Hopewell Furnace has always attracted us for the iron history. So I think we'll get into more of that. I don't want to steal Commissioner Farrell's speech about Molly, so we will hear from him shortly. But first, we'll hear from Susanna Brody as Rebecca Lukens, and then from Commissioner Farrell about working with Molly, sorry. And then Gene DiOrio will give us the presentations from the county commissioners or from government officials. So we're very happy about that, and then we'll proceed. So I do want to thank the staff and the people that help us put this on tonight. Let's see, Jim Ziegler, our executive director, and then program manager Juliet, and Hansinger, and then our our new assistant in marketing, Leanne, but then especially the property group getting these places looking the way they do. Sharon Tandrich and Kirk Beard and Fran Shiraki. I really thank them for helping. It definitely takes a team to put these things on, as you know. So I want to thank them specifically. If people are interested in the Greystone Society, we have a couple programs coming up where I'll get into the operations and our exciting things about the Brandywine Mansion and the Grutska Art Collection. So if you're really interested in some of that, there's a whole nother event geared around that. That's not why we're here tonight to talk about the Greystone Society. But it is an interesting organization, and we are very proud of what we want to do. We would like to... it is Rebecca Lukens, and that is the focus, and particularly, Quaker women of accomplishment, facing challenges that Rebecca faced, losing, her family, and being sued by her mother, and the family politics, but, making it in a world on her own and being independent and having the education, and the business acumen. I think that those are just qualities that I think we continue to look for in women of today, and a true inspirational story. And so again, during Women's History Month, we're very happy to welcome you all here to talk about, and congratulate Molly on her accomplishments, and that's really what brings us here tonight. So at first, we will hear from Susanna Brody as she takes us back in time and gives us a glimpse into Rebecca Lukens.
It's so nice to have all of you come and visit. My husband, Dr. Charles Lukens, and I first came here to Brandywine Iron Works in about 1816. Everything was in deplorable condition. There were many, many repairs that had to be made, and we bore the whole expense ourselves. I often told my father, I thought it scarce right that we should have so much to do, that the ironworks should have been put in good working order before we came. Dr. Lukens put much investment and energy into refitting the ironworks to roll boilerplate. Now this was quite risky, for this was a whole new branch of the iron industry. Does he know that my husband, Dr. Charles Lukens, was the first ironmaster in America to successfully roll boilerplate? But those were difficult times, filled with natural disasters and deep personal losses. In June 1825, I lost my dear and excellent husband and commenced my long, bitter struggle with life. This parting by death is a sorrowful thing for those that are left behind to mourn the loss of what gave them pleasure in life. I will not dwell on my feelings when I looked around me. There was difficulty and danger on every side. My husband, on his deathbed, asked me to continue with the ironworks, and I promised to make the attempt. My mother thought, as a female, I was unfit to carry on such a concern. I firmly but respectfully told her I must make the attempt. I urged the promise I made to my dying husband, the duty I had to my daughters, and that in a short while the ironworks would belong to me according to Father's will. My mother promised to challenge that statement. Necessity is a stern taskmistress, and my every want gave me courage. I think I must have possessed some energy of character, for I look back on it now and wonder at my daring. But with my brother-in-law Solomon's help, I have completely rebuilt and modernized the ironworks, made repairs to the mansion house, built substantial tenant houses for my workers, and made improvements to the farm. Now, our business is dull enough, and the competition is all around us. But I have built a superior mill, though a plain one, and our character for rolling boilerplate stands first in the American market. Oh, I could go on and on, but we are not gathered here today for that. I've talked long enough. We are here today to honor another woman of courage and determination. And for that, I will turn you back to a descendant of my dear daughter Isabella, my great, great, great grandson, Scott Houston.
Thank you. Great grandmother? It's always a little weird. Well, we are very privileged tonight to have Commissioner Terrence Farrell talk about Molly. So, without further ado, let's get into that to hear about the wonderful accomplishments. So, Commissioner, please, thank you. Mm-hmm. Great.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be here tonight and to celebrate with all of you. A couple of great women, separated by a couple of 100 years. But I'm here to talk a little bit about Molly Morrison, who I've known for probably, as I was figuring out what I should say in the speech, probably for more than 20 years. I met her in the mid-1990s. We talked about circumstance that might have occurred, although I can't remember exactly when it was. And actually, I was thinking as I reviewed her bio that we have a number of similarities in common. Molly lives in Chester County, as do I. Molly was an English major, as was I. We share the same decade in age. I won't go into which one that is. Scorpio? Scorpio. She worked for Chester County, as do I now. She's a huge supporter of open space, as you know, as am I. Actually, we've been in the same room several times to discuss open space policy and actually to do some open space deals together, including the largest for me at least being the 1,263-acre Chess Land Preserve. We're both married and have 2 grown children. She, daughters, I, sons. We're both active in the community and have served on a number of nonprofit boards, both of us on the YMCA board. This is not going to go on forever. The similarities are going to end here. She's the 2014 recipient, and if similarities were on and on, I would be here also as a recipient, but I'm not. The similarities essentially end there, particularly in the open space arena. After getting her degree from Ursinus College, I got mine from Carleton College. She went on to leave me in the dust and get a master's degree in communications from Syracuse. No wonder she speaks so well and confidently. And though I've supported open space preservation as a voter and as a commissioner, Molly, as Director of Policy and Planning for Chester County, one of the many roles she assumed in her 21 years with the county, Molly essentially oversaw the development and implementation of the county's nationally recognized open space preservation program. She is literally the mother of open space preservation in Chester County. It's true. As president of Natural Lands Trust for the past 9 years, she has been instrumental in creating conservation strategies for complex land transactions, including the acquisition of the 1,263-acre Chess Land Preserve in Newland Township. In addition to providing strategic leadership and fundraising for a staff of 60, Ms. Morrison oversees a network of 42 nature preserves and 361 conservation easements, totaling more than 44,000 acres. Since its founding in 1993, Natural Lands Trust and its predecessor, nonprofit, the Philadelphia Conservationists, has saved more than 100,000 acres of natural areas and agricultural lands, making it one of the largest regional nonprofit land trusts in the United States. While much of its land protection focus has been in Chester County, Natural Lands Trust pursues strategic land preservation and stewardship activities throughout all of eastern Pennsylvania and southern New Jersey. As a Chester County native, I have always been inspired, these are Molly's words, by those individuals in our county's history who have emerged as leaders to take on all manner of challenging roles in women's and civil rights, in business, in education, in government, and in conservation. She goes on to say, Rebecca Lukens, Rebecca, that was great presentation, is the epitome of that spirit of transformation and commitment. Receiving an award in her name is an incredible honor for me. Molly, who resides in Thornbury Township, Chester County, is a tremendous person and a great asset to our community. Like Rebecca Lukens, a model for generations to come. It is my great pleasure to present to you Miss Molly Morrison.
Commissioner, we have the award is actually a plaque, which is over there, and that's placed on Rebecca's mill to be attached to her mill. But we do have a certificate for you just in recognition of the award.
Thank you.
So, yep. Great.
Thank
I'll hold on to that if you'd like to say a few words.
you. I
that'd be great.
will. Thank you. Well, thank you all very much. I've never been called the mother of conservation open space before. I actually had 2 or 3 people come up to me tonight and say, I remember when you were pregnant with your first daughter, so I guess motherhood is the theme here tonight. But I do want to thank everyone who's participated in this event, who's attending here tonight. As Terrence mentioned, I have a great affinity for the history of Chester County, the heritage of Chester County, and I think it's important to remember, especially where we are and the honor in whose name this award is given, that the heritage of Chester County and the history of Chester County has always been a marriage of the natural elements with industry. So the fertile soil of Chester County became the backbone of an agricultural industry. The rivers and streams powered hundreds of mills. The rich iron deposits and the forested lands supplied the charcoal for the furnaces. And that's why it's such an honor and privilege for me to receive this recognition from the Greystone Foundation and the National Iron and Steel Museum, because the work that we do collectively is to preserve those elements of our history that are not only critical to the understanding of the past, but also essential to our collective future well-being. I believe, and the work that we do at Natural Lands Trust supports that belief, that those lands and forests and streams that sustained our forebears are just as critical to future generations. Agricultural lands for food production, streams for drinking water, forested lands for flood protection and carbon sequestration, trails and nature preserves for connections to nature and outdoor recreation. Those are all elements that combine to improve the quality of life for our citizens, and those elements also contribute to the economic vitality of our county and our region. It has been my very great fortune to marry my personal passion for open space and land protection with the opportunity to pursue that mission on a day-to-day basis. I have been the beneficiary of many of association with many committed open space leaders. Peter Hausman, Henry Jordan, Nancy Moore, who's with us tonight. These are people who were all essential leaders in the open space movement. The Chester County Commissioners today and former commissioners, Terrence and his colleagues. We've just been joined by Karen Martinick, a former commissioner. And those commissioners have provided tremendous leadership over the years by supporting the open space program and by promoting sustainable environmental goals for Chester County. And our legislators, our legislator Becky Corbin is here tonight, Senator Andy Dinniman is here tonight. They also deserve our thanks for their votes to support funding for land preservation. So it is a collective. We are all in this together. And it's important to remember that no matter what we've accomplished, and we can certainly feel proud of the many things that we've accomplished together, that this is an issue for now and for the future. And if there's any question that this should be an issue that continues to resonate, you should know that Chester County is projected to grow faster than any county in this region over the next 25 years. And that the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission predicts that within that period of time, our population will surpass that of Delaware County. Mm-hmm. So there is tremendous growth yet to happen. And it is essential that as we have collectively worked together to protect what is now part of that portfolio, we must continue to work together to make sure that those qualities that we consider to be so essential to the future of Chester County and the quality of life that we enjoy here, that work is not done. So, thank you to all of you, to the National Iron and Steel Museum for your important work, to the Greystone Foundation, thank you both for this honor, which is tremendous, but also the focus on open space preservation. Very grateful thanks to my friends who are here tonight, old friends, new friends, and colleagues who are here to support me tonight. And also to my family, my husband Bob, my daughter Emma, who is here, the one that was, remember when I was the mother of open space and the mother of Emma. And my daughter Libby, who couldn't be here tonight, for their support tonight and always. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you, Molly. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, where would Chester County be without the partnership and the people that you work with and help and the organization, the landscapes? It's so important, and I know that you help make Chester County a very special place. So thank you very much. We have couple politicians. Yeah, great. Couple more speeches. So very excited because they're always very interesting and entertaining. Glad Tim Hennessy could get here and Senator Dinniman. So as well as a few people. But at this point in time, I would like to bring up Gene DiOrio because Gene DiOrio is my real MC go-to person on making sure that we get everybody in the right order. So Gene, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And good evening, everyone.
Hey, Gene.
Hey. Thank you so much. And I think I recognize Karen Martinick. I thought I recognized. Before we get into these presentations from various government leaders, I want to extend my personal congratulations to Molly. I knew Molly. I was on the county park board for a lot of years, knew the commissioners, and we worked together. And of course, her husband and I were colleagues on the county park board for some time. Open space is such an integral part of Chester County. And being one of those people who hates to see bulldozers putting in parking lots, I certainly am grateful for the work that you've done. As Scott indicated, we have some presentations, and first of all, we are in Coatesville. The Greystone Society is founded here. We were created to help preserve Coatesville's history, its artifacts, its landmarks, and as we've developed the Iron and Steel Museum, we're focusing on what you correctly indicate was one of the prime things in this city. Our industrial heritage is enormously important. So we like to feel that we are very much a part of the city of Coatesville. So first of all, this evening, I'm going to recognize the member of City Council, Ed Simpson, to say a couple words, if you'd please come up. And also another member, Ingrid Jones, if you would like to join, and you can do a duet for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. Molly, congratulations on your award. And as everyone's aware, we have about 35 acres of open space right across the street, if anybody's interested. It's called the former Geo Carlson site. So we do have open space in Coatesville. Again, thank you, everybody. One of the things that I realized tonight, everybody, if you're not from Coatesville, it's kind of hard to really grasp what everybody says about Coatesville pride and Coatesville proud. But tonight, it kind of clicked for me on where it all started. It started here. It started with Rebecca and her family to, Scott, Chip, all of the Houstons, everybody in Coatesville, because of the pride that they have for their family has continued until today. And I don't know if I'm from Coatesville and proud to say that I'm born and raised in Coatesville, love Coatesville, but it's Coatesville pride. And you can't take it away and you can't describe it, but now I know where it originally started from. And thank you very much. You guys started a tradition that hopefully will never go away. And just keep in mind that this is the only area in Chester County that really hasn't blossomed yet. We're very close to doing that. It's right around the corner. Hopefully, within the next few years, we'll catch up to the rest of the county. And thank you all for coming out tonight. And it's a great honor to meet you, Molly, and recognize you for your work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Miss Molly, everyone. It's good to see everybody, and I want to thank you on behalf of the city for what you do and what you will continue to do. It's muchly appreciated. On my way over, I said, my God, what am I going to say? I have no idea. But I thought of conservation the way I knew it as a child growing up. There were Native American neighbors all around. And I learned from them about conservation. They call Mother Earth and Father Sky. That is what gives us what we have, and it's part of what we are. Plains Indians, if you will, were hunters. They'd go all over the place. When they left, they took care to clean everything up, bury what was not used, everything else, they only took what they needed. And when they would return, the area would be replenished and they could start all over. On the other hand, the Native Americans who were farmers and who tilled the soil, they stayed in one place, but they too took care of the land. And there was a very famous Chiricahua Apache by the name of Goyathale. He grew peaches as big as a man's fist, which they used for breakfast and corn cakes and other kinds of foods. Later, he became known as Geronimo, but he was a farmer, and people asked him many times how he did what he did with those peaches, and he said he took care of Mother Earth and Father Sky. So, in closing, I'd like to remind you that from moon to moon and sun to sun, woman's work is never done. So, keep doing what you're doing. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, sir. Someone remarked that since it seems to be my job to read all these special events and these proclamations, they said I'm chairman of the Whereas Committee. But anyway, we have a number. Now, we've heard Commissioner Farrell has made his presentation, and we're happy to have a representative of the county here with us this evening. Having served so many years on the Park and Recreation Board and have a great feeling for open space, it's delightful to have you here. Now, I think these are in order. Let me see. Yes, this is from the Pennsylvania Senate, and we have honored to have Senator Dinniman here. Do you have a separate one? I see this is signed by Senator Pelagi. Are you in?
No, we have three. We have one signed by the delegation.
Well, why don't you bring that one up and let me read that one and let you speak at the same time.
You don't want to read the whole thing. It goes page after page, but go ahead if your eyes can read that, Chief.
Will this be the same, basically, as the other Senate?
Yes, it's what the delegation wanted to send one in as a delegation.
Okay.
Senator Erickson, myself, and Senator Pelleggi have a joint one here.
Okay, very good.
I think the House did the same, did they not, Becky?
Yes. Yeah, probably.
And,
yeah,
oh, you're here.
he's here.
Now, Becky and I were going to do this together if you were.
Well, I usually get the job of calling county and state officials, and I try to get them all together. But this looks good. All right, whereas the Senate of Pennsylvania takes great pleasure in recognizing those citizens who, through dedication and excellence, contribute to a meaningful way to the well-being of the communities and ultimately to all the people of this great Commonwealth. And whereas Molly Kime Morrison is being honored by the 8th Annual Rebecca Lukens Award by the National Iron and Steel Heritage Museum during an event which is being held on March the 19th, 2014. And whereas Mrs. Morrison graduated from Ursinus, earned a master's degree in communications from Syracuse University. She began her professional career with the Brandywine Valley Association and then with Chester County, and where she served in a variety of positions over a 21-year period, most recently as Director of Policy and Planning. Ms. Morrison currently serves as President and Chief Executive Officer of the Natural Lands Trust, which is lauded as one of the largest regional nonprofit land trusts in the United States. You're right, it is fine print. In addition,
also in that strange kind of graphic.
yeah, that's right. In addition to providing leadership, strategic leadership, and fundraising, she oversees a network of 41 preserves and close to 300 easements, totaling more than 41,000 acres. Ms. Morrison is the immediate past chair of the Pennsylvania Land Trust Association, current chair of the Green Space Alliance. She's a member of the Thornbury Township Historic Preservation Commission and a former board member of the National Penn Bank Shares, of the Chester County Art Association, the Brandywine Valley Association, the YMCA of Greater Westchester, and the Chester County United Way. Now, therefore, the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates Molly Kime Morrison upon her richly deserved recognition, affirmatively states that she is a shining example of community spirit whose many contributions are worthy of deep gratitude and respect, and directs that a copy of this document, sponsored by Senators Erickson, Dinniman, and Pelagi, be transmitted to Molly Kime Morrison. And it's my pleasure to pass this to you. I asked Andy if you wanted to say a few words.
That's a mistake. That's a mistake. But let me just say that hello. It really is good here to be honor Molly today, and it's delightful to see my colleague Karen Martinick here, because when the history of open space is written, Karen was one of the real heroes of this movement, and Molly and I know as we work together, and continues her work with in Lancaster County. It wasn't easy at that period of time. We had to stand up. Nancy Moore, who is here, was one of the also early heroes of that movement. It wasn't that everyone was saying, go for it. We had to go through the referendums in township after township. And it evolved in an incredible way. Because you see, at first people were for open space, but not necessarily for urban revitalization. And we had to help people understand that in order to save the open space and historic places, as Mrs. Morris would say, we had to make sure that the urban areas in and adjacent to the infrastructure were evolved. So there were all kinds of things we didn't think about, initially, and it evolved continuously. Trails, my God, we got killed on trails whenever we make a suggestion in that way. I can remember a meeting where Karen, remember we're going to have that trail up towards West Nantmeal? And it's also good to see Tracy Massey and who you helped us a lot with all this. So in sum, what I have to say is this, is as we celebrate Molly's accomplishments, we celebrate something more, don't we? We celebrate a community that made the decision that it was going to save the very essence, the very soul of this county. We could have just stepped back and let that development take place. But instead, the citizens of this county voted, and you think about it, it's incredible, but voted to put tax money up. I'm still not sure they would do it for the schools even, but they did it for open space. And they did it not as Republicans or Democrats, but as Chester Countyans. They did it not as conservatives or liberals, but as Chester Countyans. And when we did the polling and the surveying, it was so strong in every sector of this county. And when we celebrate Molly's contributions today, we celebrate, in essence, a victory for the history of this county, a victory for the very soul and essence of this county, and most importantly, we celebrate that word which is so precious, the word perpetuity. That what we have here is not just for one generation, but it's for generations to come. It's forever, it's for eternity. And Molly was part of that, and we thank her so much for helping us reach and continue to strive for that reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. Now, also representing the state legislature. Pardon?
We're tag team.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Why don't you introduce her? And you are. Becky Corbin.
Oh, okay.
I have a problem with name recognition. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we have happy arrival with our good member of the legislature. Yeah, let me by and I'll let you in.
Okay.
That's right.
Thank you. I guess I should thank Gene for not introducing me as the late Tim Hennessy. I didn't get out of Harrisburg as early as Becky did. I was mulling over what I was going to say about Molly as I went down the turnpike, and I thought to myself, Morrison, all right, that could be an English last name, or it could be Scottish, it could be Welsh, it could be Irish. And since, but then I seized upon Molly, and I thought that's clearly an Irish name. And since we're only 2 days in the rearview mirror for looking at St. Patrick's Day, I thought I'd tell you a few Irish jokes while I was here. There were these 3 deaf Irish guys who were walking down the street in Chicago on a blustery day. And remember, they were deaf, and the first guy said, "It's windy, isn't it?" I mean, it's Chicago, right? So the first guy said, "Windy, isn't it?" The second guy said, "No, I think it's Thursday." And the third guy said, "So am I. Let's all stop for a beer." And there was a fellow who knocked on Mrs. Mulaney's door, and he said, "Mrs. Mulaney, I'll be having some horrible news to tell you. As you well know," he said, "your husband Sean left for work this morning at the steel factory like he always does." He said, "But myself and a couple of your friends," he said, "we talked to him to go into the brewery instead. We figured we'd spend the morning on the factory tour, and in the afternoon we were looking forward to the tasting room. But," he said, "they showed us on the tour," he said, "they showed us an open vat of beer. And poor Sean," he said, "over too far he leaned. And then I'm afraid he fell. And now he's passed to his eternal reward." Well, Mrs. Mulaney was understandably upset. She wailed for a while, and finally she regained her composure and said, my God, he drowned a vat of beer. The poor man never stood a chance." And the fellow said, "Oh, I wouldn't be saying that, Mrs. Mulaney. He climbed out 3 times to go to the men's room." Enough of that. We're here to honor Molly for what she's done for open space and land preservation in Chester County. I suppose that, as I was thinking about it, if there's anybody in Chester County who's contributed more toward land preservation efforts here in the southeast, it's, if you're not the person who's done the most, you're certainly in the top 4 or 5, and we appreciate it. And as Andy said, not only do we appreciate it, but generation after generation after generation will appreciate it. If we were at the Academy Awards, we would probably be giving you a Lifetime Achievement Award for all you've done in your entire lifetime in terms of being involved with open space. You heard as the Senate resolution was read, Senate citation was read, all the various activities that Molly's been involved in as far as land preservation. And generation after generation will look back and thank you for what you've done for them. We have a citation here. Let me just, I'll segue. Actually, I was going to make the presentation. I was going to have you go first, but ladies before gentlemen was the way my mom taught me, but that's not the way it worked out today. Let me introduce to you Becky Corbin, who's my counterpart in the district right next to mine, from Downingtown up to South Coventry. You're in your first term, I think. She's already gotten some bills passed, and she's doing really well in the House of Representatives. So let me introduce her, and then I'll come back to you. We'll make this presentation jointly of the citation.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. In keeping with what Commissioner Farrell started, the similarities, the Rebecca-Becky connection is obvious to most, but I too am a Scorpio. And people say to me, Becky, how did you get involved in politics with your background? My background, I'm a chemist. But I got involved in politics because of Molly Morrison and all the people that were involved, Karen, in Save Open Space back in 1988. And then a very young Kurt Schroeder came to me and said, Becky, I know you've got lots of time on your hands. Why don't you get involved in this? And it was working that campaign, that primary year, and seeing the most incredible voter turnout I've ever seen in an election. And it was people just coming together to vote to put up the bond to save open space. So you are the mother of open space, Molly. And I'm just delighted to be here to see you recognized. And I am, following the woman thing, the only woman legislator from Chester County up in Harrisburg these days.
And the best.
There you go. He says that all the time. So on behalf of the House, all of the House delegation from Chester County, Tim Hennessy, Steve Barrar, myself, Warren Camp, Tom Killian, John Lawrence, Dwayne Milne, Chris Ross, and Dan Truitt, and signed by the Speaker of the House, we have a citation in your honor.
Thank you so much.
I know I shouldn't, but I can't bring myself not to. Since I'll leave St. Patrick's Day behind and we're approaching Easter. And with that, Holy Thursday, and I wonder if anybody can tell me what the last thing Jesus said before he broke up the Last Supper. Anybody know? If you want to be in the picture, get on this side of the table. It may be bad jokes, but they're the only ones I know.
Thank you, Tim. We can always depend on Tim for, what shall I say, St. Patrick's Day information. We're going to have Commissioner Farrell, who's going to make a presentation as well at this time. Terrence, please.
Well, the Board of Commissioners also has a citation. Actually, my colleague Kathy Gazzone was supposed to be here tonight, but she had a personal issue that came up at the last minute, and she could not be in attendance, so she sends her regrets and her congratulations. And she actually had the citation, but due to the fact that I have an electronic copy, I will read the pertinent parts, the part that have not been transmitted in terms of knowledge first, and then I will get that citation to you in the reel. This is a citation from the Board of Commissioners of the Commonwealth from the County of Chester, congratulating Molly K. Morrison as recipient of the Greystone Society's 2014 Rebecca Lukens Award, honoring individuals who exhibit the qualities of resilience, loyalty, caring, practicality, insightfulness, tenacity, resourcefulness, and patience. You have not heard this fact before, I don't believe. Chester County native Molly Morrison learned to appreciate the importance of land preservation when spending time on her grandfather's farm in northern Chester County. You've heard the intervening facts about Molly's career, and then I'll end with the Board of Commissioners, County of Chester, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, recognizes the many contributions made and accomplishments achieved by Molly Morrison that have benefited and will continue to benefit the citizens of Chester County for many generations. Signed by all three members of the board, Ryan Costello, Kathy Cazzone, and Terrence Farrell. Congratulations. I'll give you my iPad.
I'm taking it home.
Yeah, right. It disables after 10 minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrell. On the county and state level, I have something I was requested to read. It's from former county commissioner and former state senator Earl Baker. He couldn't be here this evening, but he sent this letter which he asked me to read. I would like to add my congratulations and best wishes for Molly K. Morrison on her receiving the Rebecca Lukens Award. Our long-planned foreign travel keeps me from making these comments in person as I would like to do. Molly comes by her interest in preserving the natural environment from my earliest recollection of her, coming to the Chester County Commissioner's office from being an intern at the Brandywine Valley Association. Serious, responsible, and upward in her progress in management, she became a go-to person within the Chester County government and working with commissioners over the stretch from Bob Struble and Earl Baker to Bob Thompson to Karen Martinek. She was trusted with increasing responsibility and asked for valuable advice. She was also appreciated for a somewhat sardonic sense of humor, for which there's plenty to exercise in upon that office. Her career since going into preservation full-time has been remarkable, and her award tonight recognizes all that she brought to her position and the success she has realized in saving land. I know if our late friend Bob Thompson, also former commissioner and senator, were here, he would be front and center in praising Molly, thanking her for all she's done, and I'm happy to be able to express these sentiments on my behalf as well. So this is from that. All this makes me feel very old because I served on the park board for 31 years. I can't remember how many boards of commissioners that I knew, and of course both Bob and Earl. Well, we have, this is from, we have these things. Give me a second here. We have one from the governor of Pennsylvania. So we're moving up from city to county to state. This is signed by Tom Corbett to Molly Morrison. It is my pleasure to join with the Greystone Society's National Iron and Steel Heritage Museum to congratulate you on being honored with the Rebecca Lukens Award. As a recipient of this award, you deserve to be recognized for your character and talent for leadership. Your commitment to community service is an inspiration to everyone who has been touched by your work, and I commend you for your dedication to the well-being of those throughout Chester County. I hope that your efforts will inspire others for years to come. As governor, and on behalf of all Pennsylvanians, I'm honored to take this opportunity to extend my admiration and gratitude for all that you have done for your community and our Commonwealth. Congratulations on receiving this special recognition, and please accept my best wishes for great success in all your future endeavors. Tom Corbett, Governor, March the 19th, 2014. There you are. I'll get there. While I'm sitting through these papers, I'd like to take a moment to, I lost the lens, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Well, I'd like to take a moment. I've had several people during the cocktail hour ask me questions about this building, and I know for some of you it may be the first time here. This old house is called Greystone Mansion. It was built in 1889 by the gentleman whose portrait is there, Abram Francis Houston, a leading member of the Houston family, and a grandson of Rebecca Lukens. Mr. Houston was married in 1889, built this house, which I've always said not bad for a starter house, and lived here until he died in 1930. The house is very important in the local history. It's considered probably the most important house architecturally ever built in Coatesville. And because of its architectural importance, it earned early placement on the National Register of Historic Places. Mr. Houston had taste and style. He employed a very distinguished Philadelphia architectural firm, Cope & Stewartson, to design this. Cope & Stewartson have been recognized as the founders of what is known in American architectural history as the collegiate Gothic style. If you've been to Princeton or Bryn Mawr or Penn or even out in Missouri, you can see the buildings they designed. And of course, the style was widely copied and managed by other architects over the years. So we're distinguished to have this, and Mr. Houston died in 1930. A few years later, his widow sold this house to the city of Coatesville. And with some revision, fortunately, they didn't make too many architectural changes. In 1939, this opened as Coatesville City Hall. And for the next 53 years, this was our municipal office building. And the carriage house, which is matching style to the back, became the city jail and police headquarters. When the city moved out, we, the Greystone Society, were happy to acquire this from the city, and we are now in the throes of restoring it, maintaining it. We recognize it as an integral part of the history of the Houston family, of Lukens Steel, and of course of the city of Coatesville. It's a real challenge, but we are thrilled to have you all here this evening and to share this with you.
Let's see.
Something happened to the glass. Did you get it in?
We'll see.
Well, this is even finer print, so I hope so. We've had a few people look at this house and say, well, this is the local version of Downton Abbey. Well, not quite. All right, this is from the federal government, from the Honorable Jim Gerlach from the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate Molly Morrison on the occasion of being honored with the 8th Annual Rebecca Lukens Award by the Greystone Society of Coatesville, Chester County. As an outstanding candidate for this recognition, Molly was chosen for this honor for the same love of community she has as the award's namesake, Rebecca Lukens. A Chester County native, Molly Morrison learned to appreciate the importance of land preservation by spending time on her grandfather's farm in northern Chester County, a place where her German immigrant ancestors had begun farming in the early 1700s. After pursuing an English degree at Ursinus College and Masters in Communication at Syracuse, Molly worked at the Brandywine Valley Association and for Chester County, where she served in a variety of positions over a 21-year period, most recently as Director of Policy and Planning. In that role, she oversaw the development and implementation of the county's nationally recognized open space program, as well as the policy development of the program implementation for planning, parks, water resources, and community development. As president of Natural Lands Trust, she has been instrumental in creating conservation strategies for complex land transaction, including the acquisition of the 1,263-acre Chestland Preserve in Newland Township. In addition to providing strategic leadership and fundraising for a staff of 60, Molly oversees a network of 42 nature preserves and 361 conservation easements, totaling more than 44,000 acres. Molly has served on a variety of boards, including the YMCA of Greater Westchester, Chester County Art Association, Chester County United Way, among others. Mr. Speaker, in light of her years of immeasurable contribution to the community and litany of outstanding accomplishments, I ask that my colleagues join me tonight in recognizing Molly Morrison on the occasion of her being honored with the Greystone Society's Rebecca Lukens Award. Honorable Jim Gerlach of Pennsylvania, House of Representatives. Another one for your collection. And now I'm going to turn it back to Mr. Houston to conclude the program. Scott?
All right. Thank you, Gene. Thank you. That really does conclude our program tonight. Please take the opportunity when you go and visit Chester counties and from the Poconos to New Jersey, when you go and visit our natural and historic resources, just think of the people that are involved in that and the team that it takes. And we're very happy tonight to recognize Molly and her accomplishments, and such a successful leader in Chester County. So again, thank you, Molly, for being here. Thank you all for being here, and enjoy the night. But Molly, thank you very much.